This is pretty incredible when you think about the great Bill Belichick. It's the worst loss of his 29-year career.
Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon Perna, and I've got the world's smallest violin in my hands. And I'm playing a melancholy tune for the New England Patriots, because after 2 decades of unrivaled success, they're now one of us. One of us. One of us.
One of us. One of us.
One of us. One of us.
1 and 3. 1 and 3.
One of us. We accept that one of us.
Look, we know the dynasty is dead, and it's been since the Titans sent them packing in the 2019 playoffs. Forget the dynasty, though. They're no longer even competitive. They're bottom feeders in a division that used to be run exclusively through them. And it's a bit annoying that the Patriots weren't challenged more, divisionally speaking, while Brady was there, but this is a team currently with a negative point differential of 42. They are an absolute train wreck. And today, we're gonna find out why. Here on That's Good Sports. Today's episode is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, and this week they are matching your first deposit up to $500, which is an exclusive offer for new customers. All you have to do is sign up at Underdog with my link below or my code That's Good and make your first deposit. They also just added the best ball resurrection, so maybe injury or some surprise roster depth ruined your best ball mania drafts from this summer. Well, you can redeem yourself right now. This is a $10 entry, 300 grand in total prizes, and 30 G's to first place. It's the same best ball format, so your best score each week is used. Go redeem yourself. The pick'em games are now live in all of these states, the yellow ones, and with 5-player pick entries, you can 20x your money. Congrats to everyone who picked higher on any Miami player ever last week. Again, link below, code That's Good. Sign up now at Underdog. The only thing that might actually be able to save the Patriots right now is a young Peyton Manning. And no, I'm not talking about Arch Manning.
No, I call myself a young Peyton Manning, so.
King Henry. There you go. Now, I've been patiently waiting most of my adult life for the downfall of the Patriots. And make no mistake, it is upon us. But now that it's happened, I find myself unable to celebrate. Partially, of course, because it doesn't involve Tom Brady, but also because it's just kind of sad. I mean, the most attention Bill Belichick has gotten since Brady left has been for this.
Where do you fall on that? Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, power couple in the NFL.
Travis Kelce's had a lot of big catches in his career. This would be the biggest.
Watching Bill Belichick try to make it work with McCorkle Jones is borderline depressing. It's like seeing Michael Jordan on the Wizards. Except the only magic trick the Patriots have is secretly taping opponents without getting fined. Belichick's only real highlights this season have been benching Mac Jones in cold blood and that sassy red flag throw against the Dolphins. He's not even the best coach at modifying his sleeves anymore.
Didn't bring a short sleeve shirt, so he's making one into a 3/4 shirt now.
It's a little hot under the collar. Yeah.
He's slipping. Now, it's not just that Mac Jones is bad, and he is bad, but that pick six against the Cowboys, it felt like the final nail in the coffin for his career as a Patriot. You know it's over when you've got McCorkle Jones jerseys on the clearance rack at TJ Maxx. Trust me, as a Denver Broncos fan, it's the sales rack that breaks the news your QB has done. Not Shefty, not Rappaport. That's where I got my Simeon, my Paxton Lynch, my Case Keenum, my Joe Flacco, my Drew Lock, and my Teddy Bridgewater jerseys. But hey, he's still not the worst quarterback with the last name Jones. So you got that going for you. And he's not getting paid like a top 10 guy either. So the Patriots also have that going for them. They had a couple of nice bright spots to start the year, namely their pass rusher Matthew Judon and their rookie standout corner Christian Gonzalez, who won Defensive Rookie of the Month back in September. Here's the bad news. They both got very hurt in the loss against the Cowboys. Judon tore his bicep and might miss the season. Gonzalez tore his labrum and might miss the season. Both injuries will require surgery, and both players were instrumental to making the Pats' defense pretty good while their offense struggled. And I'm actually going to clarify right now. Both players are officially done for the year. The Patriots won't be in the playoffs. You've got to change how you see the NFL season, Patriots fans. When you're saying Judon or Gons can return, you're thinking you have a playoff window to factor in for their return. There will be no reason to play the final 2 weeks of the season. So even if they do heal at an insane speed, they will have no reason to return. It's a big adjustment to make on injury expectations, but a necessary one. Again, one of us. In the most Patriot Belichickian move ever, though, New England traded for their former standout corner, J.C. Jackson, a move I really like, but also one that's not going to make a lick of difference this season in the win-loss total. If Aiden O'Connell gets a win, I bet Jimmy G is back next as well. That loss at Dallas, though, was equal parts insult and injury. They went down 28-3 during the game, and you never felt like they could climb out of that hole. A stark reminder that these are not the Patriots of old. This is a new era, and they don't have James White and Julian Edelman to bail them out anymore. Or the officials, for that matter. New England used to be great at coaching up whoever they had on the offensive line, a testament to former coach Dante Scarnecchia. Combined with Brady's ability to get rid of the ball and identify every defensive formation on earth.
They can't stop us!
But against Dallas, the Patriots' offensive line, the depth there, a major flaw, with over a third of their rushing attempts being stopped at or behind the line of scrimmage while allowing a high pressure rate on passing downs. They brought in free agent receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, but he struggled with just one catch in each of the last 2 games. The loss in Dallas proved that Bill O'Brien might not have been that big of an upgrade over Matt Patricia. And through 4 weeks, the Patriots offense is averaging a mere 13.5 points per game, second worst in the league. So actually, he's a downgrade, Bill O'Brien. They're also one of 3 teams, along with the Saints and Raiders, to have not scored 20 points in a game this season. The fact that all of those teams managed a win in that period is actually rather impressive. The Patriots are 1-3 because that's where they belong, based on their performance. They've had a tough schedule aside from facing Zach Wilson, but they haven't acquitted themselves against contenders. They've been outscored by 42 points in 4 games, and their defense, which is usually great at taking the ball away, has recorded just 1 interception this season. Shockingly, that 1 pick came against Tua, not Zach Wilson. You have as many blocked field goals as you do picks this year, New England. And Ezekiel Elliott, he was brought in to bolster a run game that was supposed to make life easier for McCorkle Jones, but they're averaging 3.4 yards a carry, 28th in the league. Elliott himself has actually been their most efficient runner out of the backfield, but he's fumbled and he hasn't been a threat as a receiver, which was one of the things that made him so good early in his career with the Cowboys. And I don't want to put everything on the in-game sexual assaulter Mac Jones. I don't, because the Patriots receiving core is about as decrepit as it gets in the league. They're like the opposite of the Dolphins. Their main targets, like Devontae Parker, are just too slow to get separation. Mike Gesicki has been very underwhelming after they picked him up in free agency. And their leading pass catcher is Hunter Henry with just 176 yards. Kendrick Bourne ultimatum might be the only guy who's carrying the load, but he's 28 years old and probably not a building block at the position. They picked up LSU receiver Keyshawn Bout in the draft, but he hasn't caught a pass yet, proving he did indeed forget you need to get 2 feet down in the NFL. And Bill Belichick has a very well documented history of sucking at drafting wide receivers. In 2002, Bill hit with Deion Branch and David Givens, but after that, New England went colder than a Pats January playoff game. 2006, they drafted Chad Jackson atop the 2nd round, who had 2 catches and a TD in his first game. And then never any more than that. The receiver taken after him in that draft was
Greg James.
Brandon Marshall went in the 4th round to the Broncos. I thank God every morning Tom Brady didn't have Brandon Marshall, Randy Moss, and Wes Welker on the same team. Welker and Moss, obviously smart acquisitions, But Julian Edelman was their last truly good wide receiver pick, and that happened over a decade ago. The misses, the lack of weapons that led to Brady's early departure are many. Jeremy Ebert, 2 thumbs down. Aaron Dobson, Josh Boyce, Kinbrell Tompkins. They could have had Keenan Allen in the Kinbrell Tompkins draft. Who would have been a perfect fucking Patriot, by the way? All the way to N'Keal Harry and the present day group. When you have a Hall of Fame QB, you can get away with that many misses. You can sign less than stellar players like Juju Smith-Schuster and watch them exceed expectations. Building an offense becomes very easy if your QB is elite, and New England has no idea how to do it without one, as does nobody else in the league, except for maybe the 49ers. But now they have their dude, who oddly is probably the next Tom Brady. Now, Belichick has to do a 180 on his wide receiver draft approach. They found good players on defense, but you really can't say they found anyone on offense. In 2020, they spent a 3rd-round pick on tight end Devin Asiasi, who caught all of 2 passes as a Patriot. They dropped another 3rd that same draft on another tight end, Dalton Keene. He was much better as he caught 3 passes as a Patriot. They blew a 2020 5th-round pick on a kicker, one who immediately caught flack for having a far-right paramilitary tattoo and never even attempted a field goal in New England. Which is sad, because I had so many far-right jokes lined up for when he missed to the right. Last year, they famously reached at spot 29 to pick guard Cole Strange, who's been okay. He's been okay at guard. A reach. So far, though, Sean McVay unleashed the strangest laugh on the world.
And we wasted our time watching him thinking he'd be at 104 maybe.
The 2 running backs they drafted, Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris. Strong was traded to the Browns before the season after 10 carries as a rookie, and Harris is on the practice squad after a 52-yard season in 2022. Of course, the big miss was Mac Jones. And I can kind of forgive that one because he was solid as a rookie and he was the 15th overall pick, and he really was the last best option at QB in that draft, unless you'd prefer Kyle Trask, Davis Mills, or Ian Book. So how do the Patriots get out of this hole? Because it's most likely not going to get better this season. They still have 2 games left against Buffalo, 1 against Miami, and another against the Kansas City Chiefs. They're not making the playoffs. There is indeed some reason for optimism, though. The Patriots, they need a quarterback first and foremost, and luckily for them, 2024 is shaping up to be the best QB draft since 2020. Tankathon has the Patriots currently sitting at the 7th overall pick, and that's going to put them in striking range for one of the top guys. You have to assume that Caleb Williams and Drake May will be off the board by then, but that still leaves them with a shot at either Shedeur Sanders, if he declares, as well as Bo Nix, Quinn Ewers, and Michael Penix Jr., who Tankathon actually has landing with the Patriots in the 2nd round right now. You might even make the case for J.J. McCarthy, which Pats fans would probably cream themselves over because, oh my fucking God, he's a quarterback from Michigan! The wide receiver class is looking just as loaded, although I have little to no confidence that Bill Belichick is going to identify the right receiver. Because, again, everything I said earlier. The last good one was 2009. 7th round, Julian Edelman. And you could make the case that really doesn't count because he was a quarterback in college. Shit, maybe they should just draft one of those receivers and turn them into their next QB. Or draft a different position and turn that guy into a receiver. It sort of worked for Marcus Jones, right? That begs the ultimate, possibly blasphemous question. Is it time to move on from Bill Belichick? I never thought I would speak those words, but after a record of 26-28 in the 4 years post-Brady, it's clear that it's no longer working. And it might be in the best interest for both parties to move on and start fresh. Bill's offenses have struggled without Brady, but also without Josh McDaniels. And Mark Davis is literally too poor to fire Josh, so he ain't coming back anytime soon. Honestly, the only man who could save the Patriots right now is Kirk Cousins. I would very much like that. In reality, Belichick just needs to coach. It happened with Mike Shanahan in Denver, a long-time successful head coach who eventually just has too much GM/roster power. If Bill wants to keep coaching, he needs to relinquish the GM role. But if we know anything about power, it's that once you obtain it, you refuse to give it up, especially when you're very, very old. Just look at the American government. Belichick's going to be 72 years old, and if they part ways, there's obviously going to be a market for him. Let him either retire with his dignity intact or go on to coach somewhere else while the Patriots hire someone who can bring a little something fresh to the table offensively, a guy like Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. There are pieces on defense in New England, but they need a coach with a scheme that can keep up with the likes of the Dolphins, the Bills, and maybe an Aaron Rodgers-led Jets team next year. That's right, you're not going to get 2 free wins courtesy of Zach Wilson anymore. The Patriots aren't going to recapture the black magic of the old days. And that's because Satan is a Chiefs fan now, all right? It's time to embrace the suck and start over. You gotta use the word rebuild, New England, and it sucks. It's a hard word to use. Well, you were good. Now you're not. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all of your hottest football sexy action.